Then after you hit him here, bring it back, hit him again, crack him here, take out a knee, go for his arm, break that. This will break that arm. This will break that joint. Slide here, keep the long end to the back. It's a good way to block, protect that. You can also take that side, smash him up against his head or into his arm. One of the things I like the most about the Japanese hanbo, and that's just a 36-inch walking stick. And this is a homemade self-defense walking stick. It's as simple as getting a dowel rod from a hardware store or do-it-yourself shop, sand it down, oil it up, make it strong and flexible. Your hands here, point it down, point, thrust, pull, striking down over the top. Now the second way I want you to think about it is taking it here. Your hand comes behind it. We were going in front, now we're coming behind. That's the second way. From this position, you can bend your knees so that your hand goes a little bit lower, and as you step up, come into an explosive striking motion right into his teeth, into his nose, into his eyes for self-defense. Maybe the throat, that would be fatal. This is self-defense. I'm here, and then I'm up in this position. It's a very fast, explosive attack. This is beneficial if you're afraid, if your staff is like this, if he grabs your walking stick, the long end, he's gonna have more leverage. You don't want him to do that. You can slide here, keep the long end to the back. It's a good way to block, protect that. You can also take that side, smash him up against his head or into his arm, into his ribs. Maybe you're sitting in a chair, striking into his legs. You can stop him very quickly. So I'm sliding down here, a little bit comes out, and you use that for a fast, explosive pushing strike, almost like a punch to the face with this hard piece of wood. From here, you're gonna bring it around here. Say just learned something new. You're gonna turn this way. Think about a hooking punch. I like to hook this way. You can hook with this part of your hand, especially if you're wearing a glove, or if you have a hard hand and you wanna smack a little bit. That's a good self-defense technique. You can hook this way so that your palm is facing the ground, bringing that in, breaking his jaw for self-defense. And if you have your walking stick, your homemade self-defense walking stick in your hand, now you're using this hard piece of wood, and you're not just hooking with your arm. If you do it like this, see how you have the muscles in your shoulder, bringing this in, the muscles in your chest, bringing that in. Those are some good muscles, but I want you to have all the muscles, and that means turning through your shoulders and hips. Get your core muscles in there and swing with all your might, sticking this into that jawbone. His teeth come out the other side for self-defense, maybe into the temple, into the neck. Again, if you might be sitting in a chair, into the ribs. Now you might be a wounded warrior. I had one of you called me recently. We spoke on the phone a little bit. You're a wounded warrior. You used the 36-inch hanbo. You made it yourself. You went to the hardware store. You got the sandpaper. You've got your Japanese hanbo or homemade self-defense walking stick. And you said, but you're in a chair. You're in a wheelchair. Can you still use it? And the answer, of course, you can do whatever you want. This is America, right? And you're in America, so this is America. Wherever you are, you can use anything to defend yourself. From here, you can still swing and turn. And you might have injuries, you might have limitations, but even if you're able to do a little bit, using this creates leverage, and it's a force multiplier. So it takes that hook punch, that's a nice hard punch, especially to the jaw. You might be sitting in the chair, you can still hook to the ribs, hook to the body. He comes in to stick his face in yours, smash him with your hook punch. If you have this, you can hook this way. The nice thing about this technique is you can also bring the long side through and strike with the full force because it's oak. Because I've soaked this for 2 days in butcher block oil, it's very hard, it's very flexible again. I brought the vitality back to this wood by soaking it. I make these, by the way. I've been selling these to my students here. I'm now shipping them. There's a link below if you want them. They're not expensive, but it's cheaper if you go make your own. Make your own, but if you can't, I'll make one and send it to you. Slide it down, bring it through here. Bring this one through that way. From here, I also want you to think about answering your phone. Bring your hand up to your ear and get it in that front hand. And from this position, you can thrust. A very traditional way to use the hanbo or the tanbo, or not the tanbo, the jo, the Japanese jo. Japanese Okinawan, whichever one you want to think of. But you bring it here and thrust. Bring it here, thrust, and here's my favorite motion again. Slide it back, crack, right over the top. Crack, right. If you can turn off his operating system, you don't have to worry about whether he's carrying something like this, right? That's razor sharp, by the way. Sean says, what kind of oil should you use? Sean, I like butcher block oil. I used to use oils that had more metal in them. It's not good for your body. It's not good for your hands. It gets in your bloodstream. Yeah, I used boiled linseed oil until one of you told me that most of the boiled linseed oil now is really a petroleum derivative and has metals in it, and it's not really boiled linseed. They just call it that because it has a small percentage. But if you get butcher block oil, it's FDA grade. That means Food and Drug Administration. It means it's they put it on butcher blocks because you can eat it. It's a food grade oil that doesn't go rancid. Like if you used olive oil or coconut oil, after a while it's going to rot, go rancid, it's going to stink. You don't want that. But you can use butcher block oil. It's a little bit more expensive, but a little goes a long way. If you got a bottle just to use to oil up your staff, you'll never run out of it. It'll last you 10, 20 years. But I wanted to show you, that's a very sharp knife. That's scary in the hands of somebody who means to do harm to you. But if you have this 36-inch dowel rod, otherwise known as the hanbo or the homemade self-defense walking stick, you have reach advantage. So he might have this getting ready to stick it into you. I always have to make sure I'm not doing that for real because this one will go through very easily. Don't carry a dull knife. If you've ever been in the military, you know that. But this is the difference, right? I've got reach advantage. So yes, he might have a blade, which I would not want to try to take away with my hand. We were practicing last night. I was practicing with a gentleman who knows a lot of knife fighting things and a lot of knife self-defense, and we were talking about it, and we both came to an agreement that neither one of us likes the idea of trying to take the knife or even pin the knife. And you'll see a lot of self-defense experts say, pin the knife, and then you fight the guy. And the reality is, this guy, he's 20 some years older than me. He's in great shape though. And I couldn't get his knife. All I kept doing was getting cut. Luckily we were using the dull aluminum trainer. But it hurts. It hurts enough that you know you're getting sliced up. But the point is, instead of trying to take away the knife, stick this through his face, right? Crack him on top of his skull for self-defense. Bring it through this way and smash over here. Even if you did this straight into his face and he's got that knife, even though they're close in length, if you smash him in the face, he's going backward with that blade in his hand, if it's still there. And then after you hit him here, bring it back, hit him again, crack him here, take out a knee, go for his arm, break that. This will break that arm. This will break that joint. The hand that's carrying the knife. The homemade self-defense walking stick could save your life if you learn how to practice with it just a little bit. So we started with this one and this one. You can do any angle, any angular strike here. You can go from one side to the other side. Just make sure it comes off your shoulders. When you strike, you can thrust with it, use it like a sword. You can also do it this one, but thrusting here was the second one. So your hand slides to the back. I like you to bend your knees, Irish stick fighting style. Pick it up like your shillelagh, thrust through his face, smash on one side. You can then switch hands and have it on the other side. We're gonna go over that in just a minute because I wanna leave you with that to practice. But I wanna talk about the third way you might be carrying your homemade self-defense walking stick that could save your life. You might just have it in your hand like this. I see this more often when I see people carrying sticks than anything else. And they carry a stick about this long. I know for a fact there are two in my small neighborhood. They both carry a stick this length. And they just walk like this. And one of them is walking his dog. The other one is not walking his dog. He's just walking his stick. So he's walking his stick. And if you asked him, why are you carrying that stick? Which would be a dumb question in my mind, because there's only one reason he's going to be carrying that stick. And that's for self-protection, right? Especially if he's carrying it every day. He's not carrying it for an art project. He's not carrying it to fix something in the house. He's carrying it because he has a concern that there might be a vicious animal or a vicious human animal who might come up and try to steal his dignity or his life or take his freedom. And he's prepared to defend himself. So from this position, if you put one hand on top of it, the other hand, you're already holding it here, you bring this hand here, you can turn your body, and by turning and striking, use the long side to come into his jaw. Yeah, it's an art project, that's funny. Jaw, neck, shoulder. But just from this position, you turn it down, almost like you're doing push-ups, right? You can strike this way, you can strike this way, you can slide your hand You can push into his teeth. You can come down on top of his head. You can come up under his legs, right? Right between the thigh, right in there. You can push from here. You can push from here. There's no way that you can't strike in simple terms from this position. 1, 2, you just go fast. Hello, Doug. It's good to see you. Doug, we're talking about this simple self-defense, or this homemade self-defense walking stick that could save your life. This is the hanbo. I'm making these now. There's a link below for anybody who wants one of mine, or go save your money and make your own. The other way that you can get this into action right away for self-defense is by turning your palms up. 36. The question is, how many inches is this stick? This is 36 inches. It's a standard size. Usually they sell them in 36. I think they sell them in like 28, 36, and 48 inches, and then 72 inches at a hardware store. It's hard to get a 72-inch piece of oak. They're usually made out of poplar or white pine at those lengths. And those woods are too weak. They don't work very well. Thank you, Silent Walk. Thank you for being here. Thanks for your comments. But from here, if you turn your palm up, that pops it into this hand. This is my favorite way to hold the stick because it's so versatile. You can do so many things with it. You can bring it up and you can change hand positions very quickly. And that's what I wanted to leave you with. So if you start with your hands at the end of your stick, this is a good familiarity drill. Bring it here, turn it, bring it out, bring it out. 1, 2. Familiarization with your weapons is always the first step. I remember in the military, we started with something called fire, which was familiarization. It's a hard word to say when you're in the middle of a workout, hyper like I always am. But you're just turning here. Your hand is coming under, it's coming over, both hands turn, the first one goes out, the second one comes out. You're turning over, and you want to try to go from one direction to the other one, and don't drop it as much, but you will. It's good if you drop it. Yeah, this is an oak dowel. And the question is, it's tool handle. If you could get hickory would be better than oak, in my opinion. There are other woods that are much better. You can go all the way up to like an ironwood, Osage, or orange wood. Osage is one of the best. Osage was what all the old tools were made out of. It's what the Native Americans made their bows out of. It's extremely hard and flexible wood. And you can get those from like specialty shops or online. They're going to be way more expensive, but you know, it's your project, make what you want. So that's the first thing I want you to practice. Second thing I want you to practice is from this position, turning your hands over, one following the other, almost like you're walking left, right, or marching left, right, bringing one hand to the next. And that's so that you can be fighting here, changing your fighting here, striking here, striking here. Yeah, Silent says great, simple techniques, easy to learn. That's what I want. I don't want you to worry about twisting and joint locks, pressure points. You can learn all that. You can learn how to stint back here. If I had somebody, I'd show you. But I want you first just to learn how to defend yourself. Later, you can learn the esoterics, the aesthetics of martial arts. Yeah, Doug said, as a police officer, he spent a year, or time every year getting refamiliarized, if that's the word, with the weapons that you carry. I'm sure you mean on your tool belt. All right, so from here, good afternoon, students, good to see you. I want you then to practice a strike and then sliding your hand from one side to the other side, coming down on top. This is a great exercise for your shoulders. All you're gonna do here is you pull it out, your hands come to the caps again, and then they're just changing positions. The back hand is always gonna be palm up, the front hand is always palm down. You strike, pull it out, strike. You can practice your vertical strikes coming straight down. This is a good way to clean up your strikes and get comfortable with your staff, and you can come off the shoulder. You can also do this with your Japanese jo, or the Okinawan jo. If that's usually 54 inches, 50 to 54. 48 is also a good length. And then you can practice coming lower into the body. You can also practice bringing it up into a blocking motion. So from here, Naj says practice builds muscle memory. Your palm is facing up and you turn it. This is a fast, hard striking motion, but it's also a blocking motion, right? So you want to practice turning this way. and your hand comes off, you just get it back on. Your goal is to try to get so good that your hands never come off. You always have contact with your staff so he cannot take it out of your hand and beat you with it. And that brings me to the last thing I want you to think about, which is if someone does grab the end of your stick and they're about to rip it out of your hands, if your hands are away from your body and he grabs that end, he starts pulling, you're going to be doing one of these. You're going to be doing a tug of war. You never want to do a tug of war. He might be stronger, faster, crazier. Don't risk it. Instead of tug of war, you're going to lock. Put your anchor down. Lock this to your hip. Once you get this on your hip, you have this here. Now, if you get into that tug of war, it's his arms against your body. He has to move your whole body. Just by putting this on your hip, he's going to be pulling against your body weight. So you're going to be a lot stronger than his arms. Your arms might not be strong enough, but your body is. Now from here, I want you to practice turning the front hand, making small circles. We go back to Wally J and small circle jiu-jitsu. Some of you guys know Wally J. From here, making small circles. Small circles one way, small circles the other way. Small circles one way, and then the other way. After you make your circle, you're going to go down. So you're going to make a circle and then straight down. Almost like that's a symbol in music. I can't think of what that is. A treble, clef, I don't know. That's why I don't teach music. You're going to bring it around and down. Around and down. It's a half circle and then straight down. And what's happening at the other end, when he's holding on to it, his wrists are going to be compromised. They're going to be put in a weak position. His arms are going to be twisted together. When you go down, it's either going to shove him into the ground or it's going to break right through his grip. And then you have your staff, and you take it back and you stick it back in his face. So he's trying to take it from you, lock it to your arm, twist and down. Now, practice this over and over, at least 30 seconds each direction. Every single day, every single day, every single day, it'll become stronger and stronger. Your forearms are going to give you big Popeye forearms. Your grip is going to be wicked strong just from using it's a homemade self-defense tool, self-defense walking stick that could save your life. The hanbo, especially if you get one of these thicker ones. This is 1 inch and a quarter. It's not 1 inch and a half, 1 inch and a quarter. You can get it. The smaller diameter is also very effective if your hands aren't as strong anymore. But if you work yourself up to one of these thicker ones, then you're going to have the advantage of not just reach. You're going to have the reach to reach out and smash them, but it's going to be extremely strong. Alita, Battle Angel, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Bring it around and down. Attach it to your body and practice. The last step, once he's at the other end, he's compromised, you pushed it down, you're going to shove it in his face. So from here, turn it down and step. Turn, down, step. If he's holding here, you turn, break his grip, and then stick it through his throat. Turn for self-defense. Bring it down, stick it through his throat. Then you've got full range to do any of the other techniques that you want, and then in the fight for self-defense. Because the fight's not over till you win. What do you think about putting a rubber boot on the end to prevent wear? Yes, do that. Phone on silence. Okay, great. You have to watch it again later. You can also they make like a brass tip. I think you have to go to a specialty website, but you'll find them. Just put in 1 inch and a quarter, put on a brass tip, right? That's also going to protect it from the elements and from the ground and from the dirt and the rocks and the concrete. A brass tip or a metal tip, and that's going to be a little bit stronger when you stick it through his teeth for self-defense than that rubber tip. But if all you can find is rubber, if you want to start with rubber, do rubber. Rubber is still going to be good. It's going to be effective. It's going to be very effective even if you have a rubber tip. Hello, Patrick. It's good to see you. Bring it around, down, thrust, stick it through his face. Yeah, Doug says that as a police officer, they learn the turns to prevent the police line from being broken. So if you don't know what he means, when you're all online, it's riot, and you got all these people coming, throwing stuff, jumping at you, trying to smash you down, trying to kill you and hurt you, and you're locked arms with your brothers in blue, and you have to defend yourself. You can't let one get through, because if one gets through, then all of a sudden you got somebody behind you. And it's just like in the military. You don't want them to flank you. You have a 360 perimeter. You can't let anybody get through any one of those lines, because then everybody's done. So it's the same basic principle. Defend your line. Defend your stick. Alita says, bought 2 great rubber tips with steel inside. That's awesome. All right, guys. Patrick, good to see you again. Thank you so much for being here. I'm gonna go teach a couple classes and then I'm out for the weekend. I've been super busy with the end of the year stuff over at the kids' school. They asked me to run security there and I've been swamped trying to make all these great improvements and keep our kids safe because the world's getting crazier and we all need to start paying attention to security. Secure yourself, secure your family, secure your home, secure, stuff is just stuff. You can always get more stuff, but the people who you love and who are closest to you, starting with yourself, because if you can't secure yourself, you're not helping your family, right? If you can't fight to defend yourself, and then they get through you, just like we talked about that perimeter line, they bust through the perimeter, you're all in trouble.